Yo, what is up, guys? It's your boy. And as you can clearly see by the title, you already know what this video is about. So pretty much everyone who has been playing or keeping their eye on Rainbow Six Siege in recent times has been eagerly awaiting the new season. Since the announcement of the Year 5 Season 2 roadmap, people have been wanting to know who the new operators are and what they can do, as well as the new house rework, and of course some balancing changes and things that might be coming to the game. I had the privilege of being able to play the new season update, which at the time of recording this was unannounced and unreleased to the public, and needless to say, there's a lot of stuff to cover. So here's the breakdown of everything you need to know from Year 5 Season 2. Let's talk first about the new operators. So all the leaks so far have been pretty misleading, and only recently have the leaks come out of who the operators actually are gonna be. But you don't have to worry about any of the leaks because I've played this and I'm gonna show you everything that you need to know. So let's start with the South African operator. Firstly, her name is Tandiwe Malusi Ndlovu. So, Operator Malusi utilizes a gadget known as the Banshee Sonic Defense, which can be placed on most surfaces, excluding ceilings and some other odd spots. And once it's deployed, it will indicate a wide arc in front of it, similarly to how Wamai's gadget indicates an area of effect. Within that area of effect, enemies will be slowed down by the sonic field which the device emits. The slow is similar to that of a Clash slow, except the gadget doesn't actually do damage, and instead of the tick electrical damage and slow that Clash does, Banshee emits a constant low thrum noise, and the consistent slow coming out of that will trap enemies within the radius and slow them down while they move past the device. Malusi's device is also bulletproof and can only be removed by melee or explosion. So from what I saw in the time that I was able to play her, her gadgets are really great for zoning and area control and denial. Often as an attacker playing against Malusi, I found that I would much rather navigate around the sonic field than walk into it and expose myself just to try and take it out. So the gadget has great effect in hallways and other choke points, allowing defenders to create a sort of funnel by denying certain hallways, entrances, or other key areas. The slow effect also gives the defenders a great advantage over enemies caught in that sonic field, because they'd be able to quickly swing out and take out any unlucky attacker trying to move past the sonic emitter. Seeing the emitter forces attackers to make a choice. Do they walk into the field to try and take it out and risk getting taken down while exposed, or do they use some of their utility to remove it? Or do they just avoid it completely? Well, regardless of the choice they make, Malusi's gadget is going to be a threat that cannot be ignored. Of course, another very strong feature of this device is that it prevents a 3-speed attacking operator from rushing past it. So if you ever find that you're getting rushed on a specific map or from a specific area, give Malusi a try and pop down her gadgets on those crucial rushing hotspots. She has 3 Banshee devices in total, which allows for a pretty good amount of area coverage. Malusi herself is actually a 3-speed 1-armor operator, which means she'll be able to rotate around the map quickly and effectively, allowing her to utilize her gadgets across the entire map. Now, in terms of loadout, Malusi is given the option of taking either the T5 SMG or Super 90 as her primary weapon. Her sidearm is the RG-15, and she can take either a deployable shield or impact grenades as her secondary gadget. These options fit well into her kit in my opinion, and although I'm somewhat sad that this was a missed opportunity to add in some South African military firearms such as the R4, R5, or R6, I am overall quite happy with Malusi's loadout, and I'll most certainly be playing her once she is released on the live server. On the lore side of things, which I will keep concise so that you may still enjoy the story in its entirety at your own leisure when the new season releases, Malusi grew up living nearby a game reserve and grew to appreciate the need for nature conservation. She trained with the SANDF, the South African National Defence Force, and eventually formed Anti-Poaching Unit, Task Force, after resigning from the military after a particularly nasty battle. She is someone who understands the value of nature and community, as well as being acutely aware of the damage caused by greed. She fights to prevent further harm. All in all, Malusi is a very interesting operator, and She has a great gadget that opens up a lot of possibilities and potential for strategies on the defense side. She seems to fit right into the strategies that are generally employed on the defense side in terms of zone control, and her powerful kit allows her to be quite a strong pick in my opinion. In the right strategic hands, she could help strengthen certain defender setups and strategies. It would not surprise me to see her being seriously considered for banning, with the sheer zone presence that she offers being very, very considerable. Speaking of strong kits, the next operator is sure to toss a spanner in the works, because the Norwegian attacking operator Harvard Ace Haugland has some serious power of his own. Operator Ace's gadget, known as the SELMA or Selma Aqua Breacher, can be thrown out from a quite considerable distance against any surface. Upon making contact with the surface against which it was thrown, it will then proceed to pop out into a sort of long rectangular shape and create a hole on that surface in that shape before moving down a level and doing the same thing again and then again once more. Yep, that's right, Ace's gadget is a hard breaching device that can therefore penetrate both soft or reinforced walls and hatches, and explodes in 3 stages. Of course, it doesn't breach or damage indestructible surfaces because those are, well, indestructible. In essence, the result of Ace's gadget is similar to that of a thermite charge, except Ace's gadget blows the wall up from top to bottom in 3 stages, which means it is possible to destroy his gadget midway through the explosion process and actually stop the entire wall from being blown up. And in that way, he can actually also be utilized as a Hibana type breacher, creating only a long rectangular window slot in the wall if you so desire. His charges use a hydraulic mechanism to destroy the wall, and therefore the explosion damage that one receives when close to his device during its activation is actually not that much compared to the usual breaching explosions. It is thus possible to stand right beside the wall as it is blowing up and take minimal to no damage while doing so. Ace's Selma devices can, as previously mentioned, be thrown against just about any surface, which includes up against the ceiling or down against the floor to make a hole. However, if it is deployed in this way, the device will not blow up in all 3 stages. Only one of the stages will activate and it will create a single rectangular hole. In my testing, it also seemed to take 2 of Ace's Selma devices to breach through a reinforced hatch instead of 1, although the consistency of this may be reliant on the exact placement of the device on the hatch itself. Ace only has 3 Selma devices to use in total, so using 2 on a hatch is not ideal, and I would only recommend it when getting a hatch open is of critical importance. Ace is a 2-speed, 2-armor operator, and he has a choice between the AK-12 and the M1014 as his primary weapon. His secondary weapon is the P9, and he is able to take either breach charges or smoke grenades as his secondary gadgets. It is also to be noted here that Ace's AK-12 does in fact come with standard NATO attachments and thus has access to the ACOG sight. With all this considered, a very strong synergy with his gadget and smoke grenades comes to mind. It is possible to, once the first of his 3 explosions has gone off, bounce a smoke grenade over through the hole at the top, which the device just created, and let it fall down to the other side of the wall and go off, covering the area in smoke, while the last 2 stages then destroy the wall completely, allowing you to enter through the newly blasted hole under complete smoke cover. This could have some pretty big potential and gives me some serious Monty Strat vibes. I am keenly interested to see how the community utilizes his kit once they get their hands on him. Moving on to the lore, and once again keeping things short and sweet, Ace is someone who loves to be seen as the ideal hero and model upstanding citizen. He originally wanted to become a pediatric surgeon, but found that theory was not for him, instead opting to train as a paramedic to get into the action more quickly. He joined the Norwegian Armed Forces and thereafter a couple of other specialized military groups, where he gained a reputation for heroics. He strives to excel and be recognized for said excellence. Ace will certainly be quite a powerful pick that will broaden the hard breaching choices for the attackers. With the power of his kit, I would not be surprised to see him becoming a preferred hard breaching choice for teams to pick up. Moving on from the new operators, there has been a much needed update to an older operator. That's right, Amaru has finally received a few changes to her gadget and how it works. Firstly, her gadget no longer breaks a reinforcement on a doorway or window if there is one. Instead, only when she actually gets to the entrance itself does she kick through it, and enter in through that targeted entrance. Furthermore, her weapon recovery rate is substantially higher now, which overall allows her to be a bit more surprising in her entrances, giving her that much needed edge to bring her back into consideration for players who were previously disappointed in what felt like a bit of a lacking kit. Now that the operators are out of the way, let's talk about a few other things that have been added into the new season update. So, the proximity alarm has been talked about for quite some time, and it is finally here. Having been teased earlier in the roadmap, players have been wondering when they would be able to see it. The proximity alarm can be attached to most surfaces, and once it is, it keeps watch over an area in front of it, and if an enemy walks into that area, it
Okay,
sounds an
cool.
alarm. Now,
Like
it
with
is
radio
key to
then.
note here that there is no visual
Yeah.
indicator for the alarm's position and whether it has been tripped or not. The only indicator that you will receive as a defender that the alarm has been tripped is the sound that it gives off, which can be heard by friend and foe alike. For an attacker who sets off an alarm, however, there is a visual indicator that you are within the alarm's field. A small red circular indicator pops up at the bottom of your screen to show that you have set off a proximity alarm, but the sound is certainly loud enough that you will know that you have set the proximity alarm off anyway. Next up, something cool that I did not expect and don't really know how to react to is the addition of weapon attachment skins. Yeah, you can now acquire skins for your weapon attachments and apply them independently of the actual weapon skin itself. From what I've seen, the attachment skins currently available are sort of generic and monotone, but I'm sure that we will be seeing new skins going forward in time. Next up, as you know, House has received a rework in this season, and honestly, there's a lot to talk about. Firstly, House was one of my favorite maps in the game and had a special place in my heart. That being said, it was definitely lacking some elements in terms of competitive viability in its old form. The new update sought to change House into a more competitively viable map, and it seems that they've done a pretty good job of bringing it more in line with that idea. The basic layout remains familiar with the basement, first, and second floor levels. The staircases are still where they were, with the addition of a new staircase that leads to the expanded portion of what is Master Bedroom. Kid's Bedroom has now been expanded into a larger space with what is now called Pink and Car Rooms on opposite sides of one another, with Workshop having also been removed. The top floor has that familiar layout upon coming up one of the two original staircases. The biggest difference is to the rooms themselves and the addition and expansion of the floor. The new expanded portions of Pink and Car Rooms have both been connected around to Master Bedroom. Ultimately, those changes to the top floor have made it so that rotations feel very fluid and circular between the rooms on the top floor. The first floor remains almost the same with the original layout, aside from the addition of two large rooms added on beside the kitchen area with a set of stairs that leads up to the second floor into the expanded rooms there. Of course, a couple of changes have been made here and there to help with the flow, rotations, and entrances. Lastly, the basement is the least affected in comparison to the other two floors. No rooms have really been added, but the layout has been tweaked and the rotational capability and flow from room to room has definitely been improved. Much like the top floor, it feels very fluid and circular to rotate through. Additionally, some new entrances have been added to allow the attackers some other options other than the garage door when attempting to get inside the basement. Finally, another thing that I noticed was the placement of hatches in the new house rework. With how some of the hatches are placed, it is possible for RX to be able to jump up from the basement to the second floor very quickly. The first hatch in question is located above one of the newly added entrances to basement. It leads to the first floor dining room, behind the overturned table there. The second hatch is just above where you come out of the first, over at the other end of the table, allowing RX to use the overturned table as cover when moving from one hatch to the other. The second hatch comes out in Master Bedroom on the second floor. With all that said, I must conclude by saying that I am really happy with the new operators and changes that have come to Season 2, and I'm very keen to see how the community utilizes Malusi and Ace, who each offer considerable power to their respective teams. It seems like zone control is the order of the day as the meta adapts to these new additions to the teams, and it's going to be very interesting to see what happens going forward. Let me know in the comments if you like any of these changes or if you don't like any of these changes and what your opinion on Season 2 of Year 5 for Rainbow Six Siege is. Thank you so much guys for checking out this video, I really appreciate it. I will leave the links in the description below, you can go follow me on there to keep up with all the things I'm doing, and yeah, Cheers and peace.